The luxury hotel lobby glimmered under golden chandeliers, its marble floor polished so perfectly that it mirrored every step. In that pristine world of tailored suits and polished shoes, a man named Victor Langston stood as if he owned not just the place, but the world itself. A self-made millionaire, as he often reminded everyone, Victor was known for his charm in front of cameras and cruelty when no one was watching. That morning, as he adjusted his cufflinks and smiled smugly at his reflection in the glass doors, he had no idea that the next few minutes would shatter everything he believed about power, pride, and life itself. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and that life always finds a way to humble the proud, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support keeps us bringing powerful real-life lessons like this one to you. Victor was hosting an exclusive meeting with high-profile investors in the hotel's private lounge when a group of leather-clad bikers walked in. They looked completely out of place. Rough, tattooed, scarred men with steel in their eyes and grease on their hands. The one leading them had a broad chest, gray in his beard, and a calmness that came only from years of hard living. His name, embroidered on his vest, read Hank, Iron Riders. Hank wasn't there for trouble. He had been delivering custom-built motorcycles for years, and one of his recent clients was among Victor's investors. Hank had come to drop off a document and pick up a signed receipt, nothing more. But to Victor, who was raised in a world where wealth decided worth, Hank looked like a walking insult to refinement. When Hank approached politely, the room fell silent. The investors stared, a few smirking behind their glasses of wine. Victor turned, holding a cup of steaming coffee in one hand, and said with an icy grin, "I think you're lost, my friend. The service entrance is that way." Hank explained, in a calm voice, that he was there to collect a document. His tone was respectful, his posture non-threatening, but Victor wasn't listening. The millionaire wanted a show, something to amuse his guests. He laughed loud enough for everyone to hear and said, "You see, gentlemen, that's the problem these days. People like this think they can walk into our world uninvited." And before anyone could react, Victor lifted his cup and threw the hot coffee straight into Hank's face. The entire room froze. The smell of roasted beans filled the air, followed by a stunned silence that could cut glass. The boiling liquid hit Hank's cheek, dripping down his beard and onto his leather vest. The man didn't flinch, didn't scream. He just stood there, eyes locked on Victor's, his jaw tightening. Behind him, his biker brothers took a step forward, fists clenching, but Hank raised his hand to stop them. The room buzzed with whispers, nervous laughter, and the quiet hum of disbelief. Victor, still smirking, said, "Oh, come on, it was a joke. Don't take it personally." But there was something in Hank's eyes, something that made even Victor feel a flicker of unease. Without saying another word, Hank turned around and walked out. His men followed, silent as shadows. The laughter returned, half-hearted but eager to fill the tension. Victor raised his cup again, poured himself more coffee, and toasted to keeping class separate from chaos. He didn't know that chaos was already walking toward him. 10 minutes later, Victor's meeting was in full swing when the hotel manager rushed in, pale and trembling. "Sir, there's been an accident outside," he said. The words barely registered before another employee burst through the door, shouting, "There's a biker down. He got hit trying to help a kid." Everyone in the room stood. Victor frowned and walked to the window overlooking the hotel's circular driveway. Down below, a small crowd had gathered. A child's bicycle lay twisted on the pavement, and beside it was Hank. His massive body lay motionless, one arm extended protectively toward the little boy he had shoved out of harm's way. The boy was crying, unharmed but terrified. Victor's stomach dropped. For a moment, everything blurred. The laughter, the business chatter, the smell of coffee. Without thinking, he rushed downstairs. When he reached the scene, the sound of sirens was already echoing in the distance. Hank's biker brothers knelt beside him, trying to keep him conscious. One of them looked up, eyes burning with anger. "He pushed the kid out of the way," he said through gritted teeth, "took the hit himself." Victor froze. His mind screamed to step forward, to help, to say something, but guilt rooted him in place. The man he had humiliated, the one whose face he burned minutes ago, had just risked his life for a stranger's child. A stranger's child that, by cruel twist of fate, turned out to be the son of one of Victor's own business partners. The ambulance arrived and Hank was taken away, his vest soaked not with coffee now, but with blood. Victor followed in silence, his expensive shoes splashed with the dirt and oil of the road. At the hospital, the biker sat in the waiting area, silent and heavy with worry. Victor stood apart, watching the clock tick, each second slicing through him like a blade. The doctor finally came out, his face tired. "He's in critical condition," he said. "Severe internal bleeding. But if he makes it through the night, he might recover." Victor felt his chest tighten. For the first time in years, the man who prided himself on being untouchable felt utterly small. He sat down on a cold metal bench and buried his face in his hands. One of the bikers, a younger man with a shaved head and angry eyes, walked up and said, "You happy now, rich man? You poured coffee on a man who'd give his life for someone he didn't even know." Victor looked up, speechless. "He runs a garage," the biker continued, voice breaking. "Helps kids who got nowhere to go. Feeds veterans every Sunday. The man you called trash has built more lives than your money ever could." Every word hit Victor harder than the last. He left the hospital that night unable to sleep. The image of Hank lying there, burned, bleeding, but still protecting someone, haunted him. The next morning, Victor returned to the hospital. He wasn't wearing his suit this time. He looked smaller, humbled, carrying flowers in his trembling hands. Hank was awake, weak but conscious. His face was bandaged, his arm in a sling. When Victor entered, the biker stood like a wall behind him, ready to throw him out. But Hank lifted his hand. The millionaire fell to his knees beside the hospital bed, his voice breaking as he said, "I was wrong. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need to say it. I'm sorry." For a moment, the room was silent except for the soft beeping of the heart monitor. Hank looked at him, his eyes filled not with anger, but with quiet strength. "Everyone makes mistakes," he said slowly. "What matters is what you do after." Victor broke down. Tears he didn't even know he had fell freely. All the pride, arrogance, and vanity that had defined him crumbled in that single moment. In the weeks that followed, Victor visited Hank every day. He paid his medical bills not as charity but as repentance. And when Hank recovered, Victor did something no one expected. He shut down one of his luxury car dealerships and turned it into a community garage, a place for bikers, veterans, and underprivileged youth to learn mechanics and build their lives. He named it the Iron Promise, in honor of the man who had changed his heart. Hank became his partner in running it. The two men, once worlds apart, now worked side by side, teaching others not just how to repair engines, but how to rebuild dignity. Victor stopped hosting lavish investor dinners. Instead, he spent weekends at the garage, wearing grease-stained overalls instead of tailored suits. He found joy in small things. The laughter of kids learning to weld, the stories shared over cheap coffee that burned no one. And sometimes, late at night, he'd look up at the sign that read the Iron Promise and whisper to himself, "Thank you for humbling me, brother." Because the day Victor Langston threw hot coffee on a biker, he thought he was teaching a lesson in superiority. But life turned it into a lesson about humanity, about how the greatest wealth isn't measured in money, but in mercy. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe so we can keep spreading real stories that remind the world of compassion, redemption, and kindness. Comment below, what would you have done if you were in Victor's place? Would you have had the courage to ask for forgiveness? In a world that often values pride over empathy, let this story remind us that it's never too late to kneel. Not in shame, but in gratitude, and in the hope of becoming better than we were yesterday.